Hello and welcome back. This is video number 3 and let's talk about broad niche and specific posts. Basically how to set your profile up in such a way that it attracts the right person. And it'll make more sense as I dive into this. So now that we've discussed why branding and attracting a very specific person is important, the question is, how do we attract them? Well, your main profile should cover a broad niche, and that's why this is titled Broad Niche and Specific Post. So what does that look like? Well, it shouldn't be too broad, but it should be broad enough that it attracts a specific person of a specific mindset. And then, of course, your content posts, which are your pictures, then should be more specific. Now, while that makes common sense, I'm actually going to jump in. I'm going to show you how to actually do things in just a minute. So here's what I mean. Let's say you're targeting scuba diving, all right? So if that's the case, you should use a general or broad keyword related to scuba diving. Now, if you want to do scuba diving, that's fine. Maybe you want to do something more specific, like you're just scuba diving masks, all right? So you can focus just in on that as your broad niche keyword. But you don't want to be too specific because you want to attract somebody of a similar mindset. So in that case, you might want to do like a scuba diving profile. Now, if you're a company, that's a little different. If you're a personal lifestyle, you can go a little bit more broad with a personal lifestyle. So with a company, you kind of have to do it a little bit more specific. But if it is specific for your profile, your posts need to be more specific. Now, I'm going to show you different ways and different tools that you can use to actually break things down so that you can brainstorm more specific keywords. And that way, instead of just posting to post, you have a reason to post. And then you have the ability to post things that people actually want. All right. So we're going to use Google Suggest Keywords, and I'm going to show you in a minute how to actually do all of this. All right. So this will allow you to find high demand, high search keywords that people really want. And you're not just thinking, okay, this is something that I feel like is going to work. You're actually using actual data from Google that actually says that these are keywords that people want to know. All right. So that way, instead of figuring things out yourself, you're just taking a look really quick. As you'll see in just a minute, we're going to do it really quick. You're going to have it in hand, and you're basically going to have a roadmap to actually what to do, basically. And you can use this later out. So for now, let me jump right in and let me go ahead and show you this in action. So obviously, before you can do this, you need to have an idea of what you want to sell, right? So that way it'll tell you whether you need to do scuba diving mask that is a little bit more specific but yet general, or you need to just do a widespread scuba diving, very, very general, right? So you need to know that before you actually do this research, because it's just going to make life a lot easier if you do it this way. So let's say, for example, that we're going to do scuba diving. We don't really care about the masks or anything like that. So all you do is just type in scuba diving, and then you can scroll all the way down to the very bottom, and you're going to see the following. So you're going to see scuba diving gear, scuba diving meaning, equipment, facts, dangers, Goa, whatever that is, and then videos. And difference between scuba diving and snorkeling and all of that. So you could even go further and type scuba diving gear and see what you find here. So we can go down to the very bottom again, and these are basically Google suggested keywords. That means that there is a very high demand for these keywords. That means people are searching for these keywords. So you could take these and you could break them down, and you could say, okay, my profile is targeting scuba diving. So what you could do is make sure that you focus on maybe different types of gear packages, gear or tanks, different equipment and all that, and how that integrates into your lifestyle. Obviously, if you're going to do scuba diving and that's part of your lifestyle, then hopefully, you're teaching something that you're already familiar with, so that's going to be a lot easier. You just take pictures of your scuba diving gear. Now, if you're doing this for like affiliate marketing and you're not really scuba diving, then of course you kind of have to get creative, and then of course you can go to places like I said, like Big Stock Photo, and find images. So how about I do that just right now? So this is bigstockphoto.com, and let's say we'll type in scuba diving. Now, what I mentioned earlier about styles is if you go through here, you'll start to begin to notice there's a very specific style, because different artists, different photographers are different, right? So maybe you really like a certain picture. So if you click on it, Big Stock Photo will actually tell you who the contributor is. In this case, it is Rich Carey. So if you click here, you can actually see all of the photos by him. So then your pictures actually begin to look very similar. Somebody looks at it and they're like, okay, the style is very similar and therefore the brand is very similar. The problem is a lot of times if you're picking and choosing different photos from different authors, they look totally different, and then it kind of creates this uneasiness, right? So people don't know how to say it, or they don't know how to explain it, but they just feel uneasy. So that's why when let's say you have specific keywords that you find, and you want to make sure that the images that match that also match each other, right? Because at the end of the day with Instagram, it's big in images, so people will judge you by often the 9 images that show up on your profile first. So you might want to take a look at these bigstockphoto.com or Shutterfly or are these other royalty-free image sites. So that's what I would do as far as finding, keywords, starting with the broad keyword, which is very easy. That's whatever you want to sell, and then breaking it down from that point on. Now, another tool that you could use is the Google Keyword Planner, but honestly, I feel like this is the easiest way to do things. Plus, you're also seeing the suggest keywords, which are what people actually are typing in a good amount of. Now, you could also use other suggest search engines like Amazon.com. So let's go over there for now. So Amazon.com is a great place to go to simply because if you notice, if you type here, let's say scuba diving, so as you are about to complete the sentence, you can see that it also gives you suggestions like scuba diving equipment, fins, regulator, mask, lights, computer, and knife and equipment package. So Amazon, as you know, people go here to buy products and goods. So they're more likely to show you what is actually profitable. So you can get keywords from here. You can also go to places like eBay. You can go to Walmart. You can even go to YouTube.com to get an idea of what people are looking for. You can also go to Instagram as well. So this is kind of how you can figure out the specific posts. And from here, you can break it down even further. So for example, let's say scuba diving mask. So we type in scuba diving mask, and you can see that it breaks it down further. Scuba diving mask and snorkel, diving mask set, case for kids, frameless, defogger, strap cover, and GoPro mount. So you could even break it down further. Let's say strap. Let's see what we get. So sometimes it'll stop at that point. So set, dive it. So let's just take a look at scuba diving mask and see what we get. And from there, you can figure out, okay, these items are selling the most. Maybe I'll do a lifestyle review on that or something. And there you go. That's basically all you have to do. Nothing complex, and I didn't want to make it complex at all. So, like I said, just a quick recap. Number 1, get your main keyword. Number 2, get your specific keywords, and turn those specific keywords into specific posts. Okay, so welcome back. This is video number 4. Let's talk about demographics, which is really crucial to understanding who you are targeting before you actually begin to drive traffic. Because the worst thing that you can do is drive traffic without even knowing who you need to target. What age, what, sex, female, male, whatever, and all that. The life stage and all that is very, very important, because if you attract the wrong person, then you're not going to get really the conversions that you're looking for, right? So don't invest any money yet. Let's talk about demographics. So like I said, before you can use any traffic source 1, 2, 3, 4, you need to do this research. I'm going to make it quick as possible so you can get an idea, you can go do it yourself, and you can be on the road to figuring out how to build up your Instagram following. So basically you need to know who you're targeting. Like I said, male, female, age, life stage, all that. And you can get all that information for free by using a free tool. Now this way you find a high quality follower who will love, consume, and engage with your content if done right. So here's how to do it. Basically the way it works is once you have found your broad keyword, which you should have figured out in the previous video, you can use the free Facebook Audience Insight tool, as I will show you in just a minute. Okay, so the best way to get to the Facebook Audience Insights tool is simply by going to business.facebook.com/ads/audience-insights, and that should forward you here. If you have any problems, you can always go to google.com, do a search for the Facebook Audience Insights tool, and you should find the link here. So sometimes Facebook will change the links, so that is the case. That is how to always find it out. So the way and the reason why I like the Facebook Audience Insights tool is it really drills down to the point that you can see who your demographic is. Now, the best way to do that, especially if you're getting started out, is you can do it in 2 different ways. You can either go find a magazine that is very popular in that niche, or you can simply type in the interest here. So up at the top, you can search for a specific country. So normally it sets you within the country that you're searching from. In this case, from United States, and you can always click the X and you can add like UK, Canada, Australia, or whatever else countries that you're looking for. You can also specify the age and gender, but I wouldn't do that right now. In fact, I wouldn't do anything right now. The only thing that I would do is under the interest, I would put the actual interest. So I would put a very broad keyword. So in this case, I would do scuba diving. So if you notice, if I put scuba mask, it doesn't even show up. So what you're looking for is a very, very broad keyword. So in this case, scuba diving. Now, what's even better is if you can find like a magazine. Let's see if this one's a magazine. Yeah, so this one's a magazine. And the reason why magazines are great is because magazines they'll do everything in their power to promote their magazine. So they get a lot of traffic coming to their page. So if you can find a Facebook page as well, that would be great as well. But as you can see here, we can see 61% is men, and then of course 39% are women. The majority of men, it looks to be from the ages 35 to age 54. Same with the females as well. So there's females, males, it seems like the largest group is 35 to 54. So after you have a better idea of the age and gender, you can of course take a look at the lifestyle, which will give you a better idea of what kind of pictures you can use for your Instagram profile. Looks like there's a lot of married and college, well educated, and there's a lot of veterans, government, and military. So we have a better idea of what kind of pictures that we should choose. You can go to page likes and get an idea of the different pages. Go to these pages, take a look at the pages, see which images get the highest comments, the highest likes, and then maybe use similar images for yourself as well. Location is okay, but it doesn't really matter right now. Really what we care more about is just the demographics and the page likes. and that's all you have to do. Now, if you want to narrow into a very specific area, let's say men 45 to 54, you can always click this and get a better narrow view. But even if you click that, we can see that it's about pretty much the same. So once you're done with that, you are good to go to the next video. Welcome to video number 5. Let's talk about traffic source number 1. So the first source is called shoutouts. The way this works is by finding another Instagram follower who has a massive following, then paying them to promote you. So instead of contacting them, which you can do if you want to, there are many different sites out there that you'll be able to find these Instagram influencers and then approach them, pay them money, and then of course get them to build essentially and promote your Instagram profile. There really aren't many methods that you can use to get tons of followers overnight, but this is one of them few. So let me go ahead and show you some sites that you can use, and I'm going to show you how to use them. Okay, so there are a few places that you can go to get shoutouts. And keep in mind that when you grow your Instagram profile to a point, you can do this as well and make some extra money on the side. But there are tons of people out there with massive size Instagram accounts. They might be directly related and they may not. So another reason why you really need to know your demographics is, let's say if we can't find somebody who is a scuba diving Instagram profile. If that's the case, then we need to look for something out of the box, like maybe camping or something of that nature, where we find people who maybe not necessarily are fanatical scuba divers, but they want to see the coral reefs and they want to see the beautiful ocean, but they're campers. They love the experience already. So you might need to look at other niches and bring them over. So that's just something to keep in mind, because you're not always going to find somebody who has an exact profile in your niche. If you do, then great, that's awesome. But I just want to go over a few sites that you can go to for now. The first one being shoutcart.com. That's shoutcart.com. Another one is shoutotter.com. And you can see that you can see the different shoutouts that you can get access to. And we have plughype.com. So you can see there are many different things like fitness, there's recipes and health and fitness, yoga, and all that. So let's go over here and we got buysellshoutouts.com. And then of course on fiverr.com, fiverr.com, you can also type in Instagram shoutout and you'll be able to find a bunch here. Now keep in mind, make sure that they are either targeted, or if they are not, the demographic that they're trying to attract is a similar demographic you have. So if you don't know, always contact them and say, hey, my demographic is male, ages from 25 to such and such. I was just curious to make sure that your audience is very similar as well. So they should know that kind of stuff. If they don't know, then don't use them, because you want to make sure that you find somebody who is knowledgeable. But if you go to shoutcart.com, you can create a free account. You can click on browse up at the top, and you can do a search for the keyword. So like I said, I clicked on this one here, but you can see that for a 2-hour shout, which means they're going to shout out to their audience. They're going to say, hey, follow this guy over here. They can, for 2 hours, it's only $5. For 24 hours, it's $10. For a permanent shout out, that's $15. So you can go here, check it out. These other ones are good as well. Now, Fiverr, I will say be careful. Some of these people specifically, and other sites as well, but some people create their Instagram profiles for this very reason. So maybe they have a large following, but at the end of the day, they don't really have quality followers. And the way you know that is by clicking this right here, or doing a search for their name and doing your own due diligence and figuring out, okay, are they actually getting comments, likes, and all of that? Or are they just blasting a bunch of stuff and they're not getting any engagement, right? So it's better to actually buy something, a shout out from somebody who is actually getting engagement. All right.